Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. In this video, we are going to understand about the authentication and authorization using Spring Boot and JWT that we have already discussed in other videos also. If you have watched my full stack project, or if you have watched this backend course, right? But what is new here is that this is not gonna be some kind of project, but it is a kind of a concept video on how we can implement the verify user functionality. Okay, so in this one, we will implement a backend where we are going to register a user and we are going to verify the user also. Okay, and based on the verification, if the user is verified, only then we are going to allow the user to log in. Okay, so this flow we are going to understand and implement in this video. Okay, so before we start, please subscribe to this channel if you are new here, and if you are already a subscriber, please like the video, write about the video, how you, whether you liked it, what you understood from the video in the comment section. Okay, so let's get started and let's first understand the flow of verifying the user. Okay, so here is the diagram, I hope, so through which we will be understanding it. So there is a client-side application, whether it can be React or we will be testing through Postman. Okay, so from where the user will be registering for the first time. Now we will register the user with the name, email, and password. Okay, these three we will keep it as simple because we have to understand the flow. We are not building any kind of project. Okay, so we will take name, email, and password, these three fields from the user, and we will try to register the user. Now what will happen when the data will be saved in the DB, but along with that we will generate a verify code and we will set up expiry for this verify code. Okay, and we will save this verify code and expiry in the DB. Also we will save is verified flag also, right? So to get the status of the user. So this will be a DB part. After generating the verification code and expiry for that, and we are saving in the DB, we will, after that we will send the code to the email. Okay, now it can be a 6-digit code, it can be an 8-digit code, that we will see. Okay, it's perfectly fine. So that code will be sent to the user via the email, and then when the user clicks on that, and along in the email we can also send the link. Okay, so when you enter the email on that code, in this /verify code will be the endpoint in which we will be receiving this verification code. Now along with this verification code, we will also be receiving the email of the user, because we need to identify who has requested or from which user this /verify code is being, the request has been sent to this endpoint. Okay, and once this verification code is sent, and along with the email, first we will validate all the things that okay, the verification code is correct, the expiry, it is not expired, the email the user has sent, it is the same user that has the verification code, same in the DB. Okay, so all those validations are going to be done. So this is going to be the flow of it. Okay, and when we are doing the login, we will always first check whether the user exists and the user is verified. Okay, we will redirect the user to the sign up page. Okay, so this is going to be the flow how we will be proceeding it. Now whether we will be building a small, maybe we can build a small React front end also for it, but we'll see about that. But once we build the backend, we will test it using the Postman. Okay, so that the flow is checked, and if we have, and I'll see if we can build a React front end. It's not that hard, so even you can do it. So it can be an assignment for you to do that. As you can see, I have already here in this full stack project, I have talked about it, how to integrate Spring and React. So React part building can be assignment for you. It's not a big deal. I mean, you have to build few components like home and maybe navbar and login and register. Okay, so and you simply have to call the APIs and check all these things. Okay, but we'll see that front end part later. The main focus of this video is to get to this flow, because this is the standard flow which is used in the modern apps. Okay, so let's implement this. Now I have already created a project, okay, here with the name JWT app here. You can create this project here in the Spring Initializer, fill all the group artifact and all these things and add all the dependencies. So the dependencies that you need to add is, first is JPA, security, Spring Starter security. Then these three dependencies are there for the JWT implementation. And this is for web, for the mail, for Docker Compose and PostgreSQL and Lombok. So these are the dependencies that we are going to do, and we are taking Java 21 as the version of Java, right? Also in the application.yml, I have configured these basic properties. I will share a whole code with you, so you can just copy paste these configurations. And already, if you want to code along with and you want these configurations, then you can come here, and in this backend course as well as in this full stack movie app project, I have already, you can go there, you will find all these configurations there also, okay, in the YML file we have already defined, and I have shared the GitHub source code link for with you also, right? So this is basic configuration for database and for the mail. Now the email password from you have to configure. So this email will be the email, this password you have to generate using your Gmail account. Don't give your Gmail password, you have to generate an app password, okay? So if you go here to the Google and you say Google app passwords, so you will get this link, okay? Sign in with app passwords. And if you go here, then you can just here you will get the link, create and manage your app password. Just click on it, it will take you to the your account depending on which Google account you are selecting. And so just provide that email and the app password. When you will create a new app password, it will generate it for you. So it will be a 16-digit password, I think. So just copy paste these two things here. I will do it later behind the scene. I don't want to expose my email and password here, okay? So that's for the configuration. Now let's start with the main thing, and which is let's first deal with the packages. So first will be entities we will have, and then we will have a package for DTOs, and then we will have repos. Another package will be utils, and we will be requiring services, okay, and controllers. Yeah, so if we require any other things, we will create another package for that. For now it is perfectly fine. I think for configuration also one is there for security purposes. So for configuration, okay, so let's start with our entity. So we will keep it very simple. We will create a user entity, okay? So it will be entity at table. Now you cannot create a table in Postgres with the name user, so you have to give explicit name as a user, otherwise it will not accept. And then you have to create Lombok thing. So we have no args constructor, we need all args constructor, and we need a builder and toString, if so that if we want to print the data, so we can get it, okay? So this is done. Now first thing will be private long user ID. It will be of type ID. It is taking us some time for giving the suggestions. I think it's slowed down a bit. Let's keep it generated value. These are some of the basic things you already have known for last few videos if you are following, okay? So we will keep only very few fields, like a name we will put, then we will put a string email, then we will put final string password. And since we are using JWT, so we have to also put a refresh token, okay? I'm not including role here because all those role and all those things you can do it on your own. I mean, it is required for a very big project in which multiple roles needs to be configured, like user, admin, and many other. Here we don't require, because we are going to understand about the register, verification, user flow, and then login, okay? And we are going to then take private string verify code, okay? Private string verify code expiry. A verify code expiry will be of the type date from the java.util class, okay? So remember that. And one more we will take is verify date, not date, I will say boolean actually, is verified. So to get the status of the user, okay? So whether the user is verified or not, because this will be useful when we are for the login purpose, okay? So we will only allow the user who is verified. So these are the things that we are going to do. Now here we can add some validation like column nullable should be, it should not be nullable, and we will apply this to here also, this also. These things are okay. By default we can keep it as false. Okay, so by default is verified will be false. So that is one thing. Next thing is we have to implement, okay, for JWT, if you have seen the previous video, and we use this interface to implement. Okay, so let's do this, implement methods in just a minute. So here we make the role changes. We don't need this. Okay, we can make it, but it's fine. We will say password, and for username we will pass email. Okay, for these things we will pass true. It's not a problem here. All these values should be passed as perfect. So these are the things that we want to include. This is done. This is done. Now, if you want to have some role, you can include. I mean, it is not required as such, but okay, let's create a role. If we want, we can define it. I'm not defining a enum for it. I'm just defining a single role for it. Okay, a new simple granted authority. We will say role. Okay, perfectly fine. So yeah, this is also going to be nullable. Perfect. Then what else is remaining? Yeah, so user part we have already done. Now next we have to move on to is create a repo for it. So let's create a repo. I will create a rep user repo, and we will extend JPA repository users, and it is a primary key is of type long. Okay, so this we have already completed. Now next move on to our DTOs. Okay, now in DTOs we will create one DTO known as register request. Okay, so register request will create as a record. Okay, it will take three things: name, email, and password. That's it. Okay, so this will be used for a register thing, and same for login request. It will also be the same. So string email and string password. Perfect. So these two things are done. Now next thing is services. So in services, we'll create a class or an interface which will be known as auth service. Okay, perfect. So we'll say it for now. In the auth service, the return type should be some kind of a response, right? So we'll create a DTO for that also. So let's create a DTO for that, auth response. Okay, it can also be a record. We'll see if record will be fine for it. I hope so. So it will have certain fields like name. It will have means what we will be returning back. Okay, so we will be returning name, email. We have to return access token. We have to return a refresh token, and then we have to return is verified. Okay, also you can have a string role, and if you want additional things like is success or is message, some kind of a message you want to give, then you can include that also. So we can have something like, or not a string but a boolean, is success or simply success will put. No need of this, and a string message. Okay, so for a standard response we will be using this auth response class. So that is perfectly fine. Now we will move to auth response. We will say register. Okay, here we can also say sign up. Okay, so let's use this term, sign up and sign in. So here register, just a minute, register request will take the object of type register request here, then auth response sign in. So here also, no, here login request will be there. Okay, so these two things will be for register and login. Now there will be something known as, we will also be having a one endpoint for verification code. So we need a method for that. So auth response verify. Okay, so what verify code will have? Verify code will have two things. One, it will have the email of the user, and second, it will have a string verify code. I hope we have taken the string here, right? Verify code. Yeah, it will be a 6-digit number, but we are taking as a string. It's perfectly fine, not a problem. Okay, so yeah, these things are the important things. If you want to add more methods, it's up to you. I have already discussed in detail about the whole security thing. So if you want to explore this, these two videos are there for to explore all those things, right? So we will be continue with the further to implement these methods. Okay, so let's implement this. We will not create another package because we only have one class, one interface for now. So let's say auth service impl, and we will say implements auth service. Alt enter, implement methods, okay, and we will annotate this class with service. Okay, we will inject a repository because we require that user repo. So let's give this an add constructor parameter. Okay, so now this is done. Now let's understand the flow of sign up. Okay, but before that flow, we understand sign up, we need to do something in utils. Okay, because that is what we are going to require. So utils are for JWT. Okay, so let's create a new class. We will say JWT utils. Okay, and mark this as a component. Okay, first you have to mark this as a component. Now I'll be copy pasting the code and I will explain you each line of it. Okay, so here you can see that I have copy pasted the code here, and okay, we need a secret key. A secret key can be anything which is used to generate the token. Okay, so in the generate token, what we are saying is we are taking extra claims, user details. User details is basically the user info. Okay, here because user is implementing, or the, as you can see, it is implementing this interface. So basically we can get all the user info here. We need a HTTP response. Why we need this HTTP servlet response, you will just get to know. And we are going for a token class. Now token class we have to create actually. So it's a kind of a DTO. Okay, so we'll create a DTO. I'll explain you why we are creating this differently. We will create an enum of it and we will say access, refresh and verify. Okay, now let's go here and let's import. Why it's not importing? Okay, perfect. Now what we have to do is, so let's me understand what is the purpose of the utils class and what extra I have done here, which is not there in this code, which you will find here in the backend course, the JWT implementation. If you see the utils class, or in the movie app you will see the utils class, I have not included some extra code which I have included here. So I will also tell you the purpose of it. The purpose is that when you are building a backend, okay, then that backend has to talk to some client application, and that client application can be on web, it can be on mobile, or it can be with some other external API, okay, or some external service within your application. Okay, so to handle such cases, so if you are building for web, then the standard implementation works. But when you know that your application can also be, or your front end can also be a mobile application, then there you have to change your way of implementation of the JWT authentication system. What extra you have to add is you have to include the cookie based implementation you have to go for. Why you have to go for cookie based implementation? The reason is, on the web, if you remember, in the full stack application that we built using Spring Boot and Angular, we were using session storage. Okay, we were using the session storage to save the access token and refresh token there, right? So on the web, it is the session token, we can store the tokens there in the session storage. But on mobile, you don't have session storage, you don't have local storage. So how do you deal with that? Now there are various ways to deal with that things. One of them I have already told you, it is auth to login. So if you don't know about auth 2 and how it is done, please watch this video and it will be very much helpful if you are building the mobile applications. But if you want to go with the JWT or custom implementation, then you have to take the help of cookie based implementation, and that what I have included here. So these things I have is same, we have already seen. What it does is, the extra claims basically means some info. Okay, so it is not a big deal, it is just a info about the user. You can put more info. It is just a map, you can put as much info as you want. Here I have put the extra role as a info. If you want, you can say you want to put email, you want to put name of the user, or date of birth, or whatever you want to put. Okay, so we will see all those things. But along with that, I have also created a new cookie. Okay, and it has been made as HTTP only, so that it is HTTP only makes it a bit, it means that this cookie will be applicable for the request from the sites which starts with HTTP or HTTPS. Okay, this set secure. Now this set secure is only applicable when you are doing for local. Okay, when you do for prod, okay, I'll just say that for production, make it as true. Now what this set secure means that here we have defined HTTP only, but this set secure will only accept from the valid HTTPS request. Okay, valid HTTPS. It will not accept from HTTP. Okay, it will only accept from HTTPS, not from HTTP. So this is the reason. But since we are doing it on local, so we want access to that, so I've set it to false. So for local development it is fine. If you are sending your app in production, you have to set it to true. Okay, path is that across the whole application, for all the paths, we want access to the cookie, and max age is the expiration time, that after how much we should expire the cookie. And then in the response, in every response that you give to the user, you have to include this cookie. Now for that we will be using, so this thing is important. Okay, every time you are generating a new token, you are providing a new token to the user, you are sending the response to the user. In every response you send a cookie along with it. Okay, so that using cookie you can verify it, and it is very less. Cookies are more safe also compared to the session storage and local storage options. Cookie are more safe because one cookie is sent in the response to the client, but the cookie is also accessible on the backend. So the backend can directly verify whether the token has been, if anyone manipulates the token in the front end, then the backend can verify that. Okay, but if you are storing your access token on local storage or session storage, and if someone manipulates there, then backend has no way to verify it. Okay, means there are options obviously, but sometimes that can be trespassed also. Okay, so you have to take care of that. So cookie are the safer options than session storage also. So that's why we are using cookie. And here, to get the information from the cookie, we are doing this. So from every request, if we want a certain token to verify, we are using this method. So this web utils is given by the Spring to get the cookie from the request. Now we just have to mention which type of token we want to get, and we will get it. And then we can, if the cookie is valid, okay, if the token is not expired, the cookie is valid, then we will get the value, else we will get null. Okay, this is useful when we have to check if the user is authenticated or not, and this we can remove the cookie. So it is mostly used for logout purposes. Okay, now these things are standard methods that it uses the key, it provides a secret key for generating the token, and here validating the token. We can extract username, we can extract all the information from here, like expiration and is token expired. Okay, so these are some of the standard methods. If you want to discuss in detail, you can check out this backend course. We have already discussed here. The focus of this video is to discuss the flow of the registration, verification, and login. Okay, but I have given you an idea and some extra, and I hope you have learned some extra things that okay, we should use cookie also, so that we can verify the user in a more secure way. Cookie are the more secure way of sending the tokens. Okay, so this is one thing. Next thing is this is done. Okay, perfectly fine. Now we can proceed to our sign up endpoint. Now what we will do here, so how the sign up thing has to be done, discuss step by step. Okay, so I will discuss step by step. Now first step will be, we are getting this register request, so we have to validate that the data we are getting is valid. That can be done on the controller side by using the @valid annotation. And if you want, then we can also, if you go here, we can put some extra validation annotation on here also. Like here we can put okay, we have to include one more library actually, I think, for validation. So go here, Spring Initializer, search for validation. Okay, this library we have to include in the form.xml. So let's bring this dependency also. I forgot to bring this, so just paste it somewhat here. You can put, okay, load the project here. Now come here where it is, and now you can put the validation like email. Okay, so here you can provide the message that please provide valid email. Okay, something like this. You can provide something like this. Okay, also you can put something like not blank. Okay, so these validations can be put on these classes on these fields. And in the controller side, when we are getting the request, there we can put at valid annotation to validate that. So controller will verify that. So that is done by controller. So validate request data. So this will be done by controller. That is perfectly fine. Once the controller send this register request body, register request data, once this register request data we receive, so what we have to do? We have to check if the user already exists with the given email. So if the user already exists with the given email, we will simply send a error response. Okay, so we are checking that user exists with the given email, and we will also check with the given exists with the given email and is verified. Okay, these two things are important when we are trying to check. Now if we get a user which is there in the with the email there is, and it is also verified, so we will send error response. Okay, but there can be another case where we will say user exists with given email not verified. So in this we will check if its verify code has expired. Okay, if the verify code of the existing user has expired, or if has not expired, then also error response. Okay, because there is already an user who has taken this email and he is not verified, but his code has not yet expired, so he has the chance to verify it. But if it is not verified but the code has expired, in that case we can provide, in that case we can proceed with register user. Okay, so this is the fourth case. So these are the checks we have to apply. And next is if user don't exist, user not exist. So create new user object, and create new user object, then generate verification code. A verification code we will generate, and then we will save user to db, and then we will send email to user with verification code and link to verify code. Okay, so these are the basic flows that we will be doing it. Okay, so whenever you're writing all these service layer methods, first describe all these steps. You can write the steps like this and then proceed, so it will be easier for you. So I'll repeat again. First we will validate the request data, register request data. So this can be done by controller, as you have already seen. Now when we are getting this register request data in our service method, in this method we will first check if the user exists with the given email and is verified. Now if user exists already with the given email and is verified, we cannot register another user with the same email, so we will just provide a response accordingly. I'm just saying error response, and we will provide a proper response basically. Now if user exists but is not verified and his verification code is yet not expired, so in that case we will provide again the proper response that user already the email is already taken, please provide another email or something like that. Okay, now in the third case, if the user exists, it is not verified but his code is expired. So this user which has already done the registration, if he goes for verification, we will ask that user to register again. But the current user who is trying to register with this email, with the existing email, we will proceed with the verification. We will proceed with the registration of this user. Okay, so we will just modify the existing name and email and password, whatever he is providing. Okay, so these things we will be doing it. And next is if user don't exist with a given email, then it's perfectly fine. We'll just create a new object and generate the verification code and save the user to db and send an email with verification code and link to verify the code. Now what will be in the link? It will be, when it clicks on the link, it will come up a form. Okay, so if you are developing a React application, you can provide the link for that React application base URL / and your form URL. Okay, on wherever you have that verification code. Now I know you may be sounding that it's a bit complex, so once we write the logic you will understand it. So let's start writing the logic. Validation part is done. Let's first check if the user exists with a given email. Okay, so we will say user repo dot find by id. So we have to create a method actually. So let's get here and we will say optional. Okay, we will say optional user find by email. Okay, we will say find by email. Now let's come up here. So it will say find by email, and we will say register request dot email. Okay, so we will have a optional user. So we will get the user from here, optional user dot get. Or maybe we can do what we can do is let's set up it to null if optional user dot is present. So first we'll handle if the user is existing. Okay, if the user exists, then user equal to optional user dot get. Now we will check if the user is verified or not. So if user dot is verified, we have not set up the getter setting, so let's also set up the getters here at getter. Why it's not okay. So if user is get is verified, if the user is verified, we will simply return a new auth response. Now here name and everything is not required, so we will just pass nothing. Okay, if you want to pass anything, we can convert it into a builder also. Actually, it would be more better. Actually, I think rather than a record, we should use a builder. Okay, can it create it directly? Convert record to classes. Please do it. We don't want. Okay, it has given all the things, but fine. We don't need all these things. What we require is at a no-aux constructor, at all-aux constructor, final, let's remove the final thing, okay? And let's provide a builder. Perfect. Remove this. Let me come here. Now we can simply say auth response dot builder. Now we just have to say the message, okay? Message will be email exists with given email already exists. Okay, we will say email already exists and success will be false, and I will say build. Okay, so this we will pass on. So this is the first part we have done. If the user exists and the user is verified, we are giving that email already exists and success is false. No other information is required. Okay, but if this is not the case, if user is not verified, then we have to check if the code is expired or not. Okay, so else if, so we will say if user dot get code expiry dot before, okay, before new date. So it will check if this code expiry is before this new date. So this means that the for the current date it is less than current date. It means the code is not expired yet. No, so code is expired. So actually we have to put correct. So if this get expiry is greater than this current date, it means that code is yet not expired. So in this case also we will return the same thing. Okay, else, now in this case what will happen is we don't need to even write else. Now two cases are handled. These two cases we have already handled, the is verified and not verified with not expired case. Now the only thing which remains is the user exists, it is not verified, and the code is also expired. So in this case what we will do is we are going to proceed with the registered user. So how we will proceed with the registered user? We will say we will have to set up the value. So let's also do a setup here. So we will say user.set. Now first we'll set the name, user.set email, register request dot set email, user.set password. Okay, for password we have to generate the password, so we need a dependency actually. Okay, so we need a password encoder. Actually we have not provided the bean of it. Also private final password encoder, we'll provide a bean of it. So we'll say password encoder dot encode, and we will say register request dot password. Okay, now also we have to generate the verified token. Okay, so verification token needs to get generated, verification code needs to get generated. So let's generate here only. It will be string, or we will use math library. Math.random will generate this. Okay, so I have wrote this math.random into 100. So basically math.random generates something between 0.0 to less than 0.1. So let's add 1 into it. Okay, so in case it generates value which is 0, so 1 gets added into it, and then we are generating it till like this. Okay, for now we are not considering how many digits it should be, but you can restrict that also. Okay, it's perfectly fine. So we will set the verify code also. So verification code dot string dot value. We'll say string dot value of verification code. Okay, so this is how we are doing it, and we need to set up the expiry. So user dot set verification code expiry, right? Verify code expiry, which is, we'll say new date plus. Okay, so I have set up it for around 24 hours. It is, I think 24 hours. Just check it out. You can give it any number of hours you want. So if you want for a 1 day or 2 day, don't give it more than 2 day because it doesn't make sense. Between 1 hour to 1 day, it can be fine. Okay, so we have set up this. Then user dot. Okay, we don't have to set up anything else. I think role is also there. Okay, user dot set a role. So role we will set as user. Okay, this is perfectly fine. We should provide here also that by default every user should get user as role. This will also be good, but so no need to set up this. So once this is done, you can use user repo dot save user. Okay, and we will get a saved user, and we can simply return auth response dot builder dot name will be saved dot get name email. That is good. What else we have? Okay, role we will pass. Role is not required. Okay, here nothing is required actually. Email and name is fine. Now we can send message. Message will be user registered successfully. Okay, and success will be true, and we will simply build it. Now after this, we have to send the message also. Oh, sorry, the mail also. Send mail. So we need a util class for that. So we'll create a util class. So we'll say email utils. Okay, so we'll make it as a component. We require a Java mail sender. So it will say Java mail sender for this, and we need a body for it. Okay, so I'll just copy paste the body. Just a minute. We'll just copy paste the method here. Okay, so here we have created a new class and we have included all these things. Now we have to create a mail body thing. So let's create it. Let's create a record in the DTOS package. So it will have string to string subject and the string text. Okay, this is done. So basically we are just creating a my message, and using the my message helper, we are setting up all these things to from subject text, and we are setting up this parameter as HTML true because we want to format it. Okay, for the HTML content, we will create in a HTML format. Okay, so that it looks better. Okay, our mail should look better. So this is done. Now we have to create a mail body. So let's create that. Okay, so here I have copy pasted this HTML code here. Okay, so I have pasted this subject and email template here. You can just copy paste this thing, or you can create your own way if you want. This is a very simple basic one. Okay, so here you can just provide your front-end URL link. Okay, so we will provide that directly provided rather than from outside. Localhost 5173. This is the Vite server where it gets and very okay, perfect. So this is a front-end server basically. Okay, so this much work is done. So what we have done is we have checked if the user exists. We have checked. We have handled this case. We have handled this case also and done the registration. Now the final case exists when the user don't exist. So this will come outside of this if blocks. So outside if block will create a user entity. We'll say new user. We'll create a new user object. New user dot builder, and for it we'll say name is register request dot name. Email is register request dot email. Password will be again password will be password encoder dot encode register request dot password. Perfect. Then role will be role we don't need to specify. Verify code, yes, verify code we have already created, so we'll just copy this one. Okay, and we'll put here, and we'll say string dot value of verification code, then verify code expiry. So we'll again copy paste this, and we'll say dot build. Okay, so this much I think we need to do. Anything else which is required? Refresh token we don't require right now. User ID is auto-generated. Verified is automatically false, and role is by default user. Okay, that makes sense. Now the next part that we have to do is user repo dot save new user. Okay, so again save user. So we'll return the same thing like this. Okay. In fact, we'll return this whole thing as it is because we have to send the mail after saving the details. Copy this and paste this. Okay, so this is the whole logic of how we are able to handle this. Okay, let's remove this also. Okay, so we have written the code logic of sign up. Now we'll move on to the verify code first. Okay, so sign in we'll do later. Okay, now for verify code, what logic we need to create. That is the main thing. And I think in registration also we don't need to actually provide these things. It is not even required. So let's remove this. Now where it is. Yeah, these details are not required. Message and success is only required for the client to know if the user is successfully registered or not registered, right? Now in case of verify code, so first we'll check if user exists or not. So we'll say user repo dot find by email and we'll check the email. Okay, we'll say optional user. So user will say just what if optional user dot is empty. So here we have to simply return. We'll copy this thing, we'll paste here, and we'll say user not found. Okay, so we'll say user not found. Perfect. And if user is present, so this is the case of empty user. If user is present, then we'll get the user first. So we'll say optional user dot get. Now we have to check first. We have to check is if the verify code is correct or not. So to check that, we'll say if user dot get verify code dot equals verify code. If the code is correct, then we will proceed to the next step, and that is if user dot get verify code expiry is after the current date. So these two things we have to check. Okay, so if the code is equal and if the expiry it is not expired, so in that case what we have to do is we will do user dot set is verified equal to true. Okay, and you can also set other filters like set verify code as null, and we can set user dot set verify code expiry as null. Okay, and then simply call user repo dot save user saved, or we can say in fact not saved user, verified user. Now we can just again copy paste all these things because user verified successfully, and here we will make the success as false. Okay, and this is not required actually because there is no use of it. Perfect. Now if the code is expired, then we will say that sign up, or we'll say verify code expired, please sign up again to generate new code. Okay, so this is something we can do. This is the logic. You can formulate your logic in your way that what you want to do. If the code is expired, you want to send another code, then you can do the same logic. You know that we can generate the code like this, right? We have generated the code, we have set up the expiry, so you can do it if you want that. I am going with this option that I will ask user to sign up again to generate new code. That's the whole flow. And in case the code is not equal only, so we will say that verify code is invalid. Okay, invalid or incorrect, whatever you feel, you can say that. That's perfectly fine. False, false. Okay, and let's remove this because we have handled all the cases. So verify code is also fine, right? And it is very simple that first check if the user exists. If user exists, if user don't exist, then simply say user not found and return away. No need to do anything. If user exists, then check if the user which has entered the verify code and the verify code which is in our database is same or not. If it is same, then we proceed to check if the code is expired or not. If the code is also not expired, then we say okay, we set user as verified, we set verify code as null, and we set verify code expiry as null, and then save the user details and simply return a success response. If the code is expired, we just say verify code expired, please sign up again to generate new code, success as false. And in case it has entered wrong code by mistake, then we say verify code is invalid. Okay, these are the edge cases that we have handled. Now let's come to login. Login is it's going to be very simple. Okay, it's not a big deal. So we will say here, so the steps in login are also the same, like we have to validate this user. Okay, let's copy these steps. Okay, and we'll take these steps here. Okay. So validate login request data. It will done in controller. Check if user already exists with a given email and is verified. We will proceed with login. Okay, login success. So for login to success, check if already and verified. In all other cases, user, it doesn't matter what is the other cases, we will simply return an error message and no mail has to be there, right? So these are the only two conditions. So we'll just take the code away from here. Okay, take the code away from here, we'll pass it and we'll say login request of email. Perfect. So in this case, what we are doing is we are just saying user not found. So first we are checking by email. Next is if user exists. Okay, if user exists, then we will say optional user dot get. Now next thing we have to check is the verify the password. So now for the if the email with the given email, if the it exists, now we have to authenticate. Okay, because in authentication password checking also needs to be done. Now all those things we don't have to do manually. It can be done using authentication manager. So we will just have to import it. So we'll say private final authentication manager. Okay, authentication manager. Okay, so what you have to do is you have to just say authentication manager dot authenticate method is there. Now here you have to pass the username and password. How you have to pass username password authentication token. Okay, this is a class. Here it takes two parameter. So first will be login request dot email and the second will be login request dot password. Okay, and it will authenticate or not here, and we will just introduce authentication. It will return an authentication object. Okay, so it will check all the password related thing, everything it will automatically check. You don't have to worry about it. So we just have to do is if authentication. Okay, if authentication is authenticated, if this is means if user is successfully authenticated, what we have to do is now we need to generate access token and refresh token. So how do we generate the access token and refresh token? So let's close all these things first. Okay, so in JWT utils we have already have a generate token method, so we will use this. Okay, so we will inject this dependency also. So private final JWT utils, and we will get a string access token JWT utils dot generate token. Now this takes various things like extra claims, user details, response, and token type. Okay, so how do we do that? So let's first create map. Okay, map of type. It requires a map of type string comma object. Okay, where we will put extra claims, or we can just say claim. No need to say anything else. The IntelliJ IDEA is too slow. It's not giving suggestion. Okay, we will generate hash map. And in the claims, what we are going to put is we are going to put name and email. Okay, we'll say put email. So email will be user dot get email. Going copy paste it down. Get name. Okay, now we will generate the token. So JWT utils dot generate token. Okay, we need a response object also, right? So we will, along with login request, we will also get HTTP servlet response. Okay, from where you'll get, I'll tell you. Okay, you have to change the method here. HTTP servlet response. Okay, this is fine. Now what we have to do is we have to pass here. First we have to pass claims, then we have to pass user, then we have to pass response, and for token type we have to pass token from dtos dot access. Okay, and and we'll generate one refresh token. Okay, so we will get access to access token, and similarly you'll get access to a refresh token. Perfect. Okay, this now in the user we have to set up certain things like set refresh token, right? So we'll set a refresh token as a refresh token, and we have to set up its expiry. So we will say set. We should have a refresh token expiry, but it's fine. We are not concerned about that for now. So we'll give it a very long expiry, so it's perfectly fine, because we are interested not in access token and refresh token. We are interested in understanding the whole flow of registration, verification of user, and login. Okay, login of a verified user. So we will say user repo dot save, and we will save the user, and so it will come as save the user. Now we have to return auth response dot builder. Now here we have to pass saved name, we will pass email, we will pass access token, we will pass refresh token. So as you can see, we are passing access token and refresh token in through our response also, so that user can save it in our session storage. But at the backend, we are also having the flexibility of the cookie option. Okay, so this is what is important. Then is verified is true. Actually, it will be boolean dot true, because we have made it a object. A success will be also boolean dot true is verified. Okay, Okay, I think is verified has become an auth response. Is verified, we have changed it to boolean, so we should change it to boolean. Okay, next is a role. Okay, so role is a user, a saved user dot get role. What else we require more? Let's see. Okay, message is only thing. So message we can say in successful dot build. Perfect. Yeah. So this we have all done when the user has been authenticated. In case user is not authenticated, then what will return? Will return something like this. So we'll copy paste from here. Yeah, a user not authenticated, success is false. Along with that, we will say is verified. Okay, verified. We don't have to worry about that. But yeah, this thing will alone be enough. Okay, perfect. Okay, so we have wrote the services for sign up, sign in, and verify user. I hope you have understood it. If you don't understand any point, you can put down your queries in comments. I'll try to answer them. Okay, so we have implemented this. Now we are going to implement the controllers. So let's implement auth controller. Let's make it rest controller. Okay, then request mapping slash v1 slash auth. Okay, now we are going to inject private final auth service because we will require this. So it will be a post mapping register method. First we'll create register public response entity of type auth service response, sorry, auth service response register. So we'll first put this valid thing. Okay, valid from jakarta.validation, and then we will put request body. And now what will be the request body? Request body will be register request. So we can simply return it also if you want, simply like rest controller dot okay or service dot sign in or sign up register request, right? In the same way, we have to create for post mapping for login response entity auth response login. So we will validate here only at request body login request, and we will simply call a sign in method to pass login request. Okay, we have to pass HTTP response also. HTTP servlet response. So the object of response is given by the Spring itself. So you don't have to worry about it from where this parameter will come. It will be provided by Spring at the runtime. Okay, you just have to pass login request. And finally, post mapping, we will say verify code. Okay, public auth response verify code. Okay, so this verify code actually takes, you see here, it takes string, email, and verify code. Okay, two things it takes. So we have to create a DTF for this also because we cannot directly get it. So we'll say verify or verify code. Okay, now let's make it a record. Be better. Just pass these two things here where it is gone. Okay, so in here we'll say at valid at request body verify code DTO verify code DTO. Okay, now while we have to extract email and from it, so verify code dot email, and we have to extract code from it. Okay, and then return response entity dot okay auth service dot verify code email comma verify, right? So this is how we will be doing all these things. Perfect. Now what remains is our configuration. Okay, so in configuration, one is the JWT configuration that we have to. So we'll first start with that only. We have to put the filter for that. I've explained this whole logic to you, so I'm just copy pasting. I'll explain once again. Okay, don't worry. Okay, so here as you can see, okay, what we are doing is, it is this, we are implementing once per request filter. What this filter do is, for every request that you send to the Spring Boot controllers, for every request it runs once, okay, and checks all the things. Okay, so whether those endpoints are unsecured or secured. So for unsecured endpoints, if you are requesting, it will allow, and if you are requesting for an secured endpoint, then it will not allow. It will ask, it will do these things. Okay, so let's understand how it works. Now to authenticate, we need token. Now token can come in, token generally we have seen that it comes in the header, authorization header. So we are getting this header, and we are trying to extract the from the header because the token starts with the bearer. Okay, so this is the standard thing. but we can also get the token from the cookie. Okay, so this cookie thing we are getting. So what we are saying that if header we are not getting, if header is null, or if header don't start with bearer, then fine, look for the token in the from the cookie. Okay, so token either can be get from here or token can be get from here. If either of the way token is not there, and if token is null, then we simply filter chain dot do filter, means we return the user. So if it goes to a, if the request further goes to a secured endpoint, it will be rejected because that is a secured endpoint, right? But if we get the token, then we are simply extracting the username from the token that we have set up, and we are from the in the security context holder. Okay, we are setting up the authentication as auth token. So all these things are being done. Okay, so these are the basic things that has been we are doing. We are just validating here. So if user email is not null and security, and if user is not authenticated right now, so what we will do, we will load the user, validate the token, and we will generate an auth token. This auth token is different from the token that we are generating. This is for internal purpose of Spring Security to set up the authentication state for the user, as so that it can mark the user as authenticated, so that when the request goes to the next controller, it identifies that okay, this is the request coming to this secured endpoint is an authenticated request. Okay, so for that purpose it generates this kind of token. Fine, so this is not a very big logic. For more and in-depth understanding, you have to refer to this backend course, because I have explained everything in depth into it. Okay, so in a short, I have already explained you this. Now we can move on, and we have to build a configuration also to provide some beans. Okay, so we will say that it is an auth config. Okay, so I'll just copy paste this auth config thing so that it's nothing much of a logic. Okay, so here, as you can see, I have put this user detail service. This is required. Why this is required? As we have seen here, load user by username using user detail service. So that's why it is required. So it will ask for the bean of that. So we have to provide that. Authentication provider, we have to provide this. Then we have authentication manager. We were using authentication manager to log in. As you can see, if you see the code here, we have used authentication manager. So we require the bean of it, and password encoder. We require bcrypt encoder to encode our password. Okay, we can't save raw password, so we require a bean of it. So it is nothing much. We are just providing we are doing configuration to provide the beans wherever it is required. So it's not a big deal. Now what comes next? Now we have to do security configuration. Okay, so we will be doing this final step, security configuration. So in security configuration, you have to mark this class as configuration and enable web security. Also enable method security if you want to apply on each method. That it is basically you used as a role based access, that who can execute the method. Okay, so that thing. And then required args constructor we require, so that we don't want to inject everything. Now here you will require two things. First will be private final JWT filter. Okay, JWT filter you will require. And second thing you will require is authentication provider. So authentication provider. Okay, authentication provider. Now this method has one gain. We have to execute. We have to provide our implementation of the method. So when doing that, security filter chain. Okay, so it takes HTTP security, throws exception. Now what we have to do is HTTP. First is CORS. So CORS is important if you are especially working with the front end, then yes, it is important. So let's set up this CORS dot configuration source. Here comes the request, and then what we have to do is CORS configuration. CFG equal to new CFG. Well, no, not in new CORS configuration. I'll add the configuration. Okay, so this is the basic CORS configuration that we have done. It's a standard thing. Then disable CSRF. So extract HTTP configurers disable. Okay, so we have disabled the CSRF. Now we will come to authorize HTTP request. So which requests are to be made secured and which one should it allow without asking for authentication. So let's do those things. So auth dot request matchers. So there are multiple things that we have to provide. So first is API slash v1 slash auth slash star star. For now, this is the request that we want to access. So we have done this. Then we will have where it is. It will have permitall dot any request dot authenticate. Okay. So accept these endpoints. Allow for any request, it has to authenticate. Then we have to define session management. So session, we have to say session dot session create policy, and it should be stateless because we are using JWT, so we don't require a session. For now, we need to provide authentication provider. Okay, and we also need to add a filter. Add filter before every request. So what kind of filter? JWT filter, and it is of type username password authentication filter dot class. Okay, will return http dot simple. Okay, so these are standard this course configuration is a standard one. So you are allowing this particular URL, which is a front end React URL, to access all these methods, all the headers, all the credentials, and maximum age is basically for how long. So we are just putting these values. You can change it as you like. We are disabling CSRF. Then in the authorized API request, we are saying allow all the requests which are starting with these and with this endpoint, permit all them, and other than them, for any request you have to check that it should be authenticated. We are saying that session should be stateless. Don't create any session basically. And then we are providing our authentication provider to help authenticate it. And then finally it is we are saying that for every request add this. So just by creating this request and making it a component, this filter will not directly work. We have to tell the security configuration class that okay, you have to add this filter for every request. Before we have said add filter before. So before every request which is you pass to another controller, use this filter. Okay, perfect. So all these things are done. One thing I think we have not done is Docker Compose. So we need to configure this. Now let's check our application.yml. So here we have said auth.db. So let's make it auth.db. Password 12345. Username postgres, and both ports should be 5432. That is perfect, right? Make sure your Docker service is running, otherwise your application may fail on start. I have already my Docker running, so it's perfectly fine for me. If everything is perfectly fine, then we'll just see few things. Also, let's add a validation here. Okay, the way we have added here. Okay, we can add here also. Add not blank. Message can be password is required. Just copy this message, come here and put over here. Copy this whole, copy and paste, and here say name is required. You can put multiple also. So we'll say it should be of email format, but before that it should be not blank. So add not blank. Okay, so email is required. Perfectly fine. Okay, so we have provided all these validations and everything. We are good to go, I think. In here also, let's provide this. Let's provide this also. So email is required. Okay, email is required. We can provide, I think, these two validations needs to be provided to this also, and this not blank validation for code. Now you can put the length validation also if you want that the verify code should be 6-digit or 8-digit, whatever, but this much is fine for now. Okay, so here in the secret key, just pass any value. For I have passed here secret key as value. You can pass whatever you want to pass. It's perfectly fine. Okay, so this is one thing that I wanted to say, and another thing is, yeah, we are good with that. So let's try to run our application. Okay, now it's time that we run our application and check the endpoints. So let me start my Postman also. Okay, let me start my Postman. Open the Postman, because we are going to check the API is there. Okay, the computer is a bit slow, so just a minute. Okay, so we have got here in the screen. Okay, let's remove all these things. Fine. So we'll create a new request and we'll proceed with that. So let's first start the application. Okay, and if any error comes, we'll see what is the problem. So application is starting. A Docker container is also, it is picking up. Okay. Java mail sender and email utils. I think I've not provided the beans of it. Let me once check where is the problem. Oh, okay. So actually I just realized that I have not wrote the code for that sending the mail. Means I formulated everything but didn't send the mail. So I'm sorry for that. We'll say email utils, and add to constructor parameter. Okay, so here we have to actually send the mail. We can't just do that. So what we'll do is email utils dot send mail. Now it requires new mail body. So two will be saved user dot get email. Subject will be, we already have provided the subject, so it's fine. And next will be email template. Okay, the text will be email template. Now this throws a exception, so all methods. Perfect. So we are now sending the mail, and same thing we need to do here also. So let me copy this and paste this. This is a very serious thing that I have not done. We should have done it. Okay. So this is now done. Let's run the application again and let's see if it is perfectly fine or not fine. Let's see. Okay, we have to throw the exception here also. Okay, again it is saying Java mail configuration, why it is not finding it. We have provided all the things. And this is what happens when you do develop things. Even if you develop again and again, you fail to recognize these things. Let me debug quickly and see where is the problem. Okay, so the application has now successfully started and it has ran correctly. I have to add this line in the main file I have added where this main method is there. So I have added this bean. I have provided the bean of Java mail sender. I don't know, it generally takes it's, we don't have to explicitly declare it, but maybe I don't know, it has not taken, so I provided a bean and now it's working. Okay, so that's a good thing that it is working on 8080, right? Perfect. Now let's clear this thing and let's go to Postman and check. And also let's open one more thing, which is PG admin. Okay, so we will see if our data is getting saved up there or not correctly. And by the time, let's go to Postman and create a new request. Okay, so we will say http://localhost 8080/API/v1/auth/register. Okay, it is a post request. Body in the raw will select JSON. Let me increase the size of it so that you can it will be visible to you. Let's turn on there. Okay, font size also needs to be increased. Let me see if we can increase the font size from somewhere. I could not see any settings. Okay, we are not interested in that. So without this, hopefully it is visible to you. Okay, so I don't know from where it increases the font size. So I will say name and I will say my own Sudarshan. Then email, I will give my own email code sudarshan@gmail.com. Provide the email address which you have so that the email can come at your address. Okay, so sorry, the verification code can come. Okay, otherwise you will not be able to test it out. And password 12345. Yeah, 5 is enough. Okay, so these three things is required as part of the register request thing, right? Okay, so let's now send the request here and see if we are getting some good response or not. If I send the request, it says 403 forbidden. Okay, let me check. Relation users don't exist. It has not created the table. That is interesting. Okay, let me check why it is not creating table. Just a minute. Okay, so the mistake that I had did why the tables did not got created is because of this indentation thing. This whole thing was under the data source, so that's why it created error. JPA, this application data source and JPA should be in the same indented line. Okay, it should not be under, JPA should not be under the data source. I made by mistake, my configuration properties got under the data source. That's why the tables did not get created. So let's try again. Hopefully this time it will work. And let me open my email also. Okay, let's now try that whether this works or not now. So let's send it. Okay, again it is not working. Something again has happened. Now error value in not null constraints. Okay, not null constraint of role. Role we have put not null. Oh, okay. So will the problem is this constraint which is coming the column as nullable false. So we will just set it up. It's perfectly fine. We have not set it up. We'll set it up now. And yeah, so this shows that okay, our validations are working at least. So that is a good thing. Here also we'll do this role actually. Okay, so we have set it up here. Let's run again once and we'll see if it works. So though we are getting these small errors, but at least we are getting also to know that okay, the means our validations and all things are working perfectly. That is perfectly fine. So these are the kind of mistake that happens. It's not a big deal. Again, a mistake happened because of connection refused. Okay, why connection refused? Couldn't connect. Okay, so the issue that we were facing was due to this, again the same YAML file related issue only. Earlier it was JPA was not indented properly. Now it was the mail properties were not indented properly. Okay, so I'm again gonna pass the values, my own email and password, the app password that I told you. So do pass your email and password. Okay, yeah, earlier I had passed my email and password, but it was this whole block was not indented properly. Okay, so this mail was inside the Hibernate itself, so that's why it created the problem. Okay, so now everything is fine. So let me quickly copy paste my email password and restart the server. Okay, I'll be back again. Okay, so I have copy pasted my email password credentials, which I cannot show you, but I have already explained you what you need to do. So I will restart the server again. So I have deleted the database also. So now let's me think. In the table I've deleted. So let's come here and let's refresh this, and you can see the users are here. Now if we open the table, currently no records are there. Perfect. Okay. Now everything is up and running. Let's clean up this and let's go here. Now for HTTP register, let's try again, and hopefully this time without an error it should work. Let's hope for the best. Let's see. So I think something is really happening. Okay, again it gave the error, connection refused. So we were facing certain errors, as you know. So I have figured out various errors. So actually what we were doing is, there are a few things that we need to remember. First thing, I've told you that in the mail configuration, you need to make sure that things are working perfectly fine. Okay, so mail configuration was not actually a problem. The problem was this: we do not need to create a bin. Actually, I was actually right earlier that we do not need to create a bin. So because of this, explicitly creating a bin, it was having a problem. So if you are creating a bin, please don't create it. And second thing is, to solve the problem, I deleted this target folder, then reran the application, but still I faced the issue. Now the issue is, in the auth controller, you can see I did all this extra code stuff, but the problem was that when you are getting a response in a class, so what happens is, you are expecting a JSON response. You are expecting a JSON. You are providing the request in JSON. Okay, this is coming in JSON, and you want the response to go in the JSON. That is also right. But this conversion is happening because of the JSON. Okay, which is by default in our class path, because we have included the Spring Web dependency. But the problem is JSON was not able to convert the auth response into a JSON because we do not provided a getter. So getter is important if you want to work with the serialization issue you may face. Okay, so getter, constructor builder we had provided, string I provided for seeing that what auth response we are getting. Getter is important so that JSON can serialize and deserialize from Java object to the JSON and vice versa. Okay, so this was the main issue. Now it has been resolved. Now I have tried even one with the email ID. So you can see here I have tried with this. You can see the success is true. Message is user registered successfully. And if you come here, you can see the user is there. Password is encoded. We are getting one verification code. So this is the most important thing. Okay, and this is the expiry date. So it will expire at what, 1631. Okay, in 3 minutes only. We have to do it fast a bit. Okay, so 191505. Now if I show you the mail, here you can see we have got the verification code. Now what we will do, we will come here, we will create quickly another one. Let's copy this code before the code expires. Okay, I should have given more time actually. So if I say verify code, okay, I think this is the endpoint, right? Verify code, perfect. Post, it is a post request, and we have to provide in body verify this thing. Okay, verify DTO we have to provide. So it is email and verify code. Okay, not headers, raw. Come on. Okay, email we have to provide. So we will say code with sudarshan.com, and then verify code we will provide, which we will provide it in string. Okay, so it is 191.505. So we will say 191.505. Okay, so hopefully everything will be perfect. If we send it, you see true, user verified successfully. Now if we come here, so if you see here in the is verified tag, it is currently null, it is, but if you rerun it, so you'll get the value as true. So this is how we have done the verification. Now the user will be able to log in. Okay, so first of all, what I'll do is to check whether the unverified user can log in or not. We have to first increase the expiration. So just a minute. I think where is the verification code? Okay, here. Okay, I'll increase one more zero. So hopefully it will now be around what, good enough, 36 minutes or something like it will be. So what we'll do is, just a minute. Okay, it is coming like this. Let's delete this user. Okay, let's delete this user and we will run this again. Okay, it is perfectly working fine. I'll delete this mail also, don't worry. So, and we'll run the application again. Okay, and see that whether after registering the user, are we able to log in again? Are we able to log in or not? Okay, that is the, so let's see. Okay, so I have restarted the application. So let it start. These are some of the smaller things when you build in a bit of faster, than few things you miss out. It's perfectly fine. I mean, there's nothing to be worried of. It's all right. So now we are going to register again with the same user, and we'll see if we are able to log in with this email ID, but we will not verify ourselves. Okay. So let's do it. Let me delete this account. Okay, I have deleted the email. Now let's proceed. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, let's go. Send, and let's see. Yes. So it is saying success true, user registered successfully. If we go here and if we click again, continue. So you can see now is verified is null. So right now user is not verified, and 184 another verify code we got, and this time this is up to 1639 or 439. Fine. Now let me log in. Okay, now let me do the login. Register, we will do login with this, and we will do post, we will do this, we will do that, and here we will pass email code with sudarshan.com. It will be password 12345. Okay, perfectly fine. Okay, I hope this is how it is to be taken. Let me check once. Okay, perfectly fine. Login request has email and password only, right? This response object will be provided by Spring, so we don't have to worry about. And it is a /login post request. Perfectly fine. So post request /login. I have provided the login. I have provided this, and now with this new verification code, I have not yet verified. Okay. So if you see here, we have verified with previous code. So if we go here and if we send the mail, so we are getting forbidden thing because we have not verified. So user is not getting verified. Yeah, so it's saying something, but the point is, if you see here, the response, the actual response, if you see here, the tokens are null. Okay, now it is stating that the keys, that secret must be of size greater than this. So we'll check about that, but we'll have to check about that actually. I'll just, okay, we have to do this implementation. Actually, this secret key should not be just anything. Actually, with the new updates, we have to provide a particular secret key. I'll just copy paste a secret key I already have. So let me do it again, otherwise it will not allow to log in. Sorry, to generate token. You can generate all these secret keys in the through online. So I'm just putting these secret key here, restarting the application. Okay, hopefully it will accept this. Actually, I was using this one in my earlier project, so hopefully it will accept this. It's been only few weeks that I have used this, so let's see. Okay, let's clear this console and let's go again, and let's go again. Okay, this time Okay, this time the error is different. Okay, this time error is different. That value is too long for the character padding. Okay, so validation thing we have to check off. Fine. Refresh token is coming a bit longer. Let's increase its size. Column definition we can't increase. Actually, column definition we have to do. A length we will put at 1000. Okay, and we will drop the schema. We'll do it again. Okay, finally, it's perfectly fine that we'll do it again. I will delete this schema because the token is getting generated a very big one, so it is maybe not getting into it. So it's all right. We are only learning these things, and everything I'm telling you openly here that what kind of errors you can face. So note down all these things because this would be helpful for you, right? So now if we go to here again and if we refresh, okay, so we have got this, and okay, now we don't have anything right here. So we will register again and we will try to log in again. Okay, so let's go to postman. Let's try to register the user again. Okay, so we have registered a user right now. Now if we click on here and if we continue, so we have got a user with this new verification code. And yeah, so it is for 5 minutes actually, but that's not a problem. It's perfectly fine. Now what we'll do is we'll go to this login. Okay, we'll go to login and we'll try to log in with this user, and we have not yet verified. So if you see my verification endpoint, it is still with the very previous one. Okay, it is not, I've not changed anything. I'm not verified this user. So if we send it again, so yeah, it's verified true, sign in successful. Okay, so here we are getting the verified user is getting logged in. Okay, non-verified user, is it non-verified, right? Yes, it is non-verified. So how it is getting logged in? Okay, so I think we have made some kind of mistake. Let's see, because this should not happen, as we have seen that if user exists, if user don't exist, then it is fine. If we are getting a user, we are authenticating it. If the user is okay, I think along with I think we have missed one thing. If user dot get is verified, and then we should put this condition actually. We'll do it again. Okay, that was one condition that I have missed out, but it's fine. We can put this condition here only and we can return it back. It is perfectly fine. I just wanted to make sure that user should not get authenticated. That's the whole point. So let's try again. So if we try to log in now again, if you see, then you are seeing that the success is false, user not authenticated. Why? Because the user is not verified, verified is false, and we still have our verification code here. So let's now verify. So let's go to verify. Verify is here. What is the code? 105468. 105468. If we click on it, so true, user verified successfully. Now if you come here and if you run this, it is true. Now if we try to log in again, so now it is saying true and sign in successful, and you are getting all these things, right? So this whole flow that we have seen, that how these things are done. There were errors and there are some more things that we can do, like when we are creating a new user, then we can also here put is verified as false. Okay, so that is one thing, because we were getting the value as null. Okay, so that is another thing. It's perfectly fine if you don't put it. You can check for null and false both in that case. Okay, so you can say user dot is verified, set is verified. Okay, so these are some of the changes, some of the small things that you can do. So, but I hope you have got an idea of how these things are done. So I will once again go through this whole thing. So first we have created the user entity, right? With the user ID, name, email, password, refresh token, verify code expiry, is verified, string. Let's remove this also. It is doesn't matter. Is verified, and a role. And we have extended this with user details. Then we created the repository and a method to find by email. Then what we had done is we created a register request for registration, login request for login, and auth response for providing the standard response related to the authentication flow. Okay, this is the mail body for the mail, and we have created tokens type, access and refresh tokens, and verify code for verification. We have created the DTO, right? Then we created the auth service for sign up, sign in, and verify code. and in auth service implementation we did that. Now what we did in sign up was, first we check the validation of the register request data that we have done through the auth controller, because as you can see we have applied at valid, so this will validate your data. Okay, next we have checked if the user is existing or not. So if user is present, then we are checking if user is verified or not. If user is verified, then we say email already exists, we don't have to do anything. But if user is not verified and the code and the verification code it has is not expired, then in that case we again say the same thing, that email already exists. Okay, but if these cases are not valid, means these cases are not these conditions don't hold true, then what we do that in the first case when the code is expired, so for that user we provide the email to the user which has came for the registration. Okay, because the previous user has not verified itself, so it will not get its email. Okay, and then we have may set up the existing values to the new values that we are getting from the user, then setting up our role, generating the verification code, and setting up the expiry time. We can set one more extra 0 for 50 minutes. Okay, so it will be around 1 hour. Okay, so setting role to user and setting is verified to false, so initially it will be not verified, and then we are saving the user, and after that we are sending the mail. Okay, this mail part is important. Make sure that you do the configuration properly. The indentation in the YAML file should be correct, because we have faced a lot of error because of that. And then we are simply returning a success message. Next thing is verification code. Now verification code we are again generating, because now user don't exist. So this case is for when user don't exist. So user don't exist, we create a new user with the provided name, email, password, we encode, and then it's verified as false, you role as user, and all these things are same. And then the same thing, we save the user, we send the verification mail and send the success response. In the login part also we are getting login and HTTP response. Why response? Because we want to save the access token and refresh token in cookie. Okay, we don't want to rely just on authorization header. Okay, and second benefit of cookie which I want to tell is that if you have watched this video, if you have watched this movie app, if you have watched, okay, this Angular series or this movie app full stack project, then you will see that there for every request, okay, in the header we have to manually set the access token, okay, so that the request would go. But if you are dealing with cookie, then you don't have to worry about all these things. You don't have to set up the access token or refresh token. You can leave it to the backend. Backend will verify it. Okay, so that's why this is a very so the cookie is basically good for both front end and backend, both the developers. Okay, so that is good. Now in the login, what we are doing is we are again validating it through the controller, and then we are simply checking if the user exists and is verified, then the login is success, else it is failed. So if user is not present, then user not found, else we will authenticate. And after authentication, means before authentication, obviously you can check if it is verified or not, but it's fine. Then this will be proceeded only if user is verified. So if user is verified, then we are setting up the claims and generating tokens, saving the user, and means saving the refresh token things in the user and making it is verified as true as a response basically, and saying sign in successful. Else we are saying user not authenticated successful. Now in verify code we are getting two things, email and verify code. So first we are checking if user exists or not. If user don't exist, then user not found. Second, if user exists, then verify code should be equal. So the user has given the code and what you have in the database, both should match. If they both match, then check if the code is expired or not. So if code is expired, if code is not expired, then user is verified and you save the details, you update the user details. If code is expired, then you say that code is expired, and if code don't match, then you say code is invalid. Okay, so these are the standard things that you can do. Now whatever you have learned, okay, whatever you have learned till here from this backend course, from the movie app, and from this auth to login complete React full stack project, you can integrate this workflow into your project. So try to build a new custom your own project and when you build your authentication system, then try to integrate this verify user workflow. I have explained it in detail here. So just go through these videos once, twice. You will understand it. It is not that hard. With practice, it will come. Okay. If you just watch the video and do nothing, then you will not understand. Or if you do only once, you may forget. You have to do multiple times. As you have seen, I have also done some mistakes. I have also missed out things. So even after practicing, I'm doing small. I forgot very minute things here and there, but overall, I can remember all these important things because I have built multiple projects. I have practiced multiple times. So the same thing applies to you. You have to practice all these things if you want to really be able to code on your own. Okay, and that's the real skill that you have to develop to code the whole authentication system on your own. Okay, without any AI help. Actually, you can take the help of Stack Overflow, Google. That is fine. Even I take that sometimes. Or if I have the existing code base, so I take some boilerplate from there. So as you have seen that these boilerplates I've taken from there only, so it's perfectly fine. But the main logic part, you should know that what will come next, what will come next. And if you are confused in building so much logic, then like me, you can write all these steps like this, step by step. So it will be easier for you. Okay. So I hope this video would help a lot of people, right? And I hope you will appreciate that now you have got all the authentication system related doubts cleared. If you still have anything, you can post in the comments. I'll see and I'll try to answer as soon as possible. So thanks for watching this. Please subscribe to the channel and please press the like to the video. It gives me motivation to make more such good content that you like. And please write something about the video, whatever is your feedback in the comment section. I'll see you in the next one. Till then, bye bye.